Hi, I'm here with Rachel Platten, Emmy-winning singer-songwriter behind hits like Fight Song and Stand By You. And we're here to talk about her new album, out September 3rd, called I Am Rachel Platten. Let's get into it.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here with you.
So first of all, this is your first new album in 7 years.
Yeah.
I know you became a mom in that time, but
Yeah.
what else, caused you to take such a long break?
Well, I mean, it wasn't intentional, but obviously the pandemic. I got pregnant and I had my baby Violet, and then the pandemic happened. And I went on tour right before the pandemic and thought that I would get right back out there. Like, I really had goals to just keep going and not let motherhood affect me or impact my career. It was actually almost, I think, something that I had to heal from, of realizing like children weren't going to impact me in that way. But that is, for anyone who's had a kid, that is completely untrue. And you don't really have control over how it impacts your life. And so it just took time to heal, both emotionally and physically. And while I was on tour, I started to suffer from postpartum depression. So not only was there the pandemic to contend with, I was also, facing my own personal demons. I had my second baby, Sophie. I was writing right in between that time, like 2020. I started to really dive deep into writing this album and realize, like, okay, I have a lot to say. But little did I know it would take another 4 years to complete it. And I had to go through another struggle with my mental health after having Sophie. So it took a lot of healing to get ready to rise above where I had been and kind of find, what do I want to say right now? But I think that, honestly, I'm really proud that I took that time, because I've changed fundamentally. And I'm really ready to bring this message and this new music into the world. And I can stand behind the songs that I'm singing, because they weren't written for other people. They were written for me, to help heal me in moments of terror and darkness and fear and rage and all the things that humans go through. And my hope now is that these songs on my album, I Am Rachel Platten, may be a vehicle for other people that they were for me, out of the dark.
Yeah. So you've been working on it for like 4 years, basically.
About 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when was it?
Which is a long time. I admit it.
Because your last two albums came out like back to back.
But isn't that just the worst? Because it feels like they make you do that when you're on a major label. They just want you to pump out music. And I wasn't ready. I'm proud of the record that I released. I love Waves and I love the songs on it. But if I really honestly look back and think, like, was I ready to share how I felt yet? I wasn't, because my process as an artist, I don't know about other artists or songwriters, I can only speak for myself. My process is I have to go really deeply inward and feel and kind of process the world around me and have my antenna and just do a deep dive before I can transmute it into art and before I'm ready to share. So it was too soon for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you experienced so much change between the two, because
Right.
Fight Song
Right.
blew up, and then,
Right. And I'm a completely different person now. I was someone that 13 years in the making of traveling in vans and selling CDs out of my suitcase and sleeping in vans and playing in living rooms. That was my vibe before Fight Song exploded. I wrote Fight Song about not giving up on myself. It took 2 more years. Finally, it changed my life. And then, whereas no one had been paying attention and I was desperate to knock on doors, I finally had everyone's eyes on me. And how can you not be fundamentally different after that? And that, I think, deserved some time to sit there and process and honor, hey, Rachel, hand on heart, how do you feel now? Who are you now? What do you need? And I wasn't able to do that with so much attention on me. So I almost had to kind of crumble and fall away. I had to retreat and go inward, have children, heal. And the rest of the world, we were forced to go inward. We were forced to get quiet. And so it was almost kind of a natural thing that I was echoing what the rest of the world was doing, just turning inward, looking at myself, looking at my own unhealed trauma and pain, and finding that fire again and making it organic, so that by the time now I'm ready to bring it out there, I'm authentically ready and truly, I feel empowered to give this message again. But I think a couple years ago, I would not have been ready yet. I was still in it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And talking about how, you need time to process things, how has becoming a mom changed your perspective about your career or, songwriting?
Fundamentally. First of all, not just motherhood, but what I went through, struggling with my mental health, all of that collectively has made this time around, coming back out, so much more joyful because I feel like so much more at peace with it. I love my life. I love my girls. I love my husband. I'm so proud of what I've done. I'm so proud of what I've built and what we've built, my husband and I together. And this music already saved my life. Like these songs that I'm about to share with the world, they were already the medicine I needed at my lowest, darkest moments. And so the album really is already a triumph for me. And whatever else happens is extra, So motherhood changed me fundamentally in that I will never need and grasp the same way that I used to. I'll never look to something outside of me to fulfill me anymore. I know really, truly, I can say, I know I'm enough. And I know that, the love that I have for my girls, the love I have for my husband, and it's all enough,
Yeah. Are they old enough to understand what you do for your job?
Yeah, Violet, my 5-year-old is. My 2-year-old kind of. My 2-year-old gives me her special baba, her blanket. If she's like, you have cancer, you gonna be nervous, take my baba. And my 5-year-old does get it, and she asked me to record one of her songs the other day in the studio. I actually just got it back from my producer, and she wrote a song for her sister, and she wants to be like me now. I mean, I don't know if that'll last, but for the next couple months, maybe she'll kind of be into mama. She was in a big dad phase too, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Is she playing any instruments or just kind of
She's I don't.
Singing?
Yeah, she's taking piano lessons, but she's like, oh, I got it, Mom. And I'm like, oh, sorry, you can barely play.
But she doesn't want your tips.
No, she really doesn't care about my tips. And if I sing too loud, she's like, oh. So, I mean, she's a really feisty, kind of fiery, incredible little girl. And I don't know. I wonder if she'll ever I think she admires it, but she's not trying to get my advice yet.
Okay.
She's kind of like, ugh, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the songs on the new album, and I mean all your albums, but especially the new album, are so personal. Bad Thoughts is about when you were dealing with a panic attack. How do you decide, what's too much to give of yourself to your lyrics?
It's a good question. When artists and songwriters ask me now, what advice do you have for me about songwriting and how do I make it, I'll always actually say to them, write the thing that you don't want anyone to know. Because that's usually the thing with the most truth in it, right? If we go so deeply inside, then that's the more universal message. I find that when you hinder that process of real honesty and authenticity, you also put gates up around, how people are going to be able to relate to it. So I really don't have any filter in terms of my music. I don't think that way. I deal with it later in therapy when the music's about to come out, okay, I'm about to release this song that I wrote when I was having panic attacks, throwing my forehead on the floor, crying out mercy, I can't take anymore, I am defeated. And I know we've all had those moments, unfortunately, and mine brings songs. And so I just don't know what else to do other than to share in terms of music. I feel like it's what I'm here for. And it is uncomfortable when I start to put it out there, and it is kind of scary. But I've already moved through that part. I have an amazing therapist, and I have an amazing team, and we did a lot of work around so I'm sharing my journal entries. Cool. But I do want to say, I was listening to my album last night. I don't do it very often, and I just kind of wanted to hear what people are going to be hearing. And there's also a lot of joy on it that I forget to talk about, in interviews. It's there was the pain that I went through and the deep secrets that I'm sharing about myself and my inner demons. But there's also a whole other side of the album that I really haven't yet alluded to. And there's so much joy and passion and fun. And so I think that fans will be surprised too.
Speaking of fun, when I was listening, I was very surprised to hear Michael Bolton.
Oh, girl!
And I was listening, I was is that, wait. Can you talk a little bit about how that came about?
How much time do you have? I have an amazing Michael Bolton story for you. All right, girl, I'm going to try not to cut it down. So here I am, 3 months postpartum, my second baby, Sophie, 3 months old. I'm not doing well. I'm not going to lie. I probably hadn't showered in a couple weeks. I wasn't doing great. Wasn't thriving. And it didn't look like the Instagram postpartum situations. I was sobbing in a heap. And someone rang the doorbell, and my nanny answered it. And he said, "I'm here for Rachel." And when he answered it, she came up to me and said, "There's a man downstairs. He has like a leather jacket and like a couple earrings. Like, is that the dog walker?" And I was like, I don't know who that could be. And I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, beep. That's Michael Bolton. I have a session today. She was like, what? I'm like, send him back to the studio. And she's like, well, you got to get dressed. I'm like, I'll try. So I'm breastfeeding at the time. I quickly throw myself together, go to the back studio. Michael Bolton's sitting there, just in all his epic glory, just all Michael Bolton-ness, looking so fucking cool. And I'm like, hi, I'm not doing well. I haven't slept in days. I am like right in the zone of postpartum depression right now. Not ready to write a song. And I explain all this to him. And he's so kind and loving. And he's like, man, I think we're going to write a song anyway. And I was like, wow, okay. All right. You know where I'm at, and we're going to try. So we're sitting there and we're writing. And sometimes you hit a home run, and sometimes it just, you spend an hour and you don't have anything. And that's what was kind of happening. And I was getting tired. And I just was like, hey, Michael, I'm not doing well. I think I got to go back inside. Also, my boobs hurt. I have to feed my daughter. And he's like, yeah, man, come back out after. And I was like, this guy won't let me say no. So I come back out, and I'm like trying one more time. I think I got to stop, man. And he's like, yeah, but I have this chorus. And I'm like, okay, all right. And he sings, like a cold glass of water in the desert sun. And I was like, yeah, that's good, dude. And I'm still so tired. So we work on it. We write this chorus for a little bit. And I finally say goodbye. I forget about it. A year later, my producer and I are looking through songs for the record. And he's like, man, this stuff's amazing, but it's all pretty sad. Do you have anything that's like a little more upbeat? And I'm like, well, there's this one that says fun with Michael Bolton. He's like, what the fuck? So we play it, and Jason Evigan, my producer, is like, this is epic. We got to finish this song. So we go and finish the song. We go to Nashville, record it. Long story short, I finally get brave enough to show it to Michael and be like, hey, I finished that song that we wrote. And he loved it, thank God, and asked to come sing on it. And yeah, that's how we got it. That's how the duet came to be.
That's awesome. It's so much fun.
Cool. That was a long story.
Such a nice surprise to hear his voice.
It's at the very end, too.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of look at it like a PS, like a postscript to the album, because the album in my mind really ends at, the proper, like, about me and my journey and my hero's journey. And then I'm like, and here's Michael Bolton. Because you've been good.
So I know this is probably like choosing a favorite child, but do you have a favorite song on the album, or one that feels the most personal to you?
It's hard. It's really hard. There's ones that feel most personal, and then there's a favorite. And I think that The River is my favorite sonically to listen to. I'm just incredibly proud of how my voice sounds and how we recorded it. And I listen to it kind of in amazement that it's me. Like, it sounds like music I love and authentically love to listen to. And I listen to what my voice can do at the end, and I'm just kind of, I just get really proud of myself. Also, we recorded that one all at once in a room, so it was just one take of a vocal and one take of drums. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
we're all sitting there, yeah. And so I'm just really proud. I can feel the soul, and I can remember the moment, and I remember my voice doing these notes at the end that I just had never come out of me before, and being like, kind of like, wow. So I think The River. And then one that's most personal, definitely Bad Thoughts. That one was really healing for me to write. And the messages that I've gotten from people, I mean, I'm getting hundreds and thousands of messages of people telling me, thank you, I don't feel alone. Like, thank you, I have OCD and I have panic attacks, and someone speaking to what I'm experiencing in a pop song. It's amazing. And honestly, when I ask like what I'm really here for, it's to be of service and to have fun.
I saw you sing that song in the spring in Brooklyn at the
church. Odyssey event.
Yeah, with Elle King and everyone, and it was so cathartic. Like, hearing it performed in a big crowd with everyone kind of singing
everyone
along.
breathing together. Yeah, I just did it with 15,000 people breathing in and out, and it is, I mean, it's so powerful. It's healing for me, and it reminds me that I am coming full circle. This is the moment that I was praying for when I was going through the darkest times, was to be of use. Like, let this pain have a purpose. Let this pain find something, that can help people, because it's so much to bear. And the fact that now it's maybe possibly something that can be healing for other people is just really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me look at my notes. Jack can cut this out.
Oh, it's fine. My Michael Bolton story was like 20 minutes long. I'm sure.
Will you be going on tour for this album?
I will, yes. Okay. I was going to be touring in October, November, but we're putting it off until the spring just because my daughter's starting kindergarten, my youngest is starting preschool. My youngest just realized she can climb out of the crib. It's just personally at the moment not like...
A lot going on.
There's a lot going on in my family. I don't want to pull them out of their schools quite yet. So we're pushing it back till 2025. But there will be the I Am tour, and it's going to be magical. I'm going to make sure that there's just, so much warmth and love in the rooms that I pick, and support, because I know people are going to be feeling feelings and like going through stuff as they listen to the music in a collective. And I really want it to be a nurturing night and something where you leave not just having the concert experience, but also like made friends, have some resources, have other ways to let out your feelings and know that like you're enough and it's okay to be vulnerable. Yeah. So I'm going to create something really special, and you can follow along with me on that journey in my fan community at rachelplatten.com. I'll be announcing that way earlier than for the public, and we have a really incredible network where people feel safe to share, and we kind of echo each other with support. So please come join.